Okay, so we went from a pretty garbage um, Black Red Vampires deck to something that is decent. I would call these two decks decent. They're not amazing by any stretch, but they can be. They can get better, right? The main focus of this was to focus on using a tribal type in different applications, or I guess you could say different applications. So the original Black Red Vampires deck I had was awful. I found it online somewhere. Can't remember where it was posted, but it was just not good at all. We've taken it, we've transformed it into something that's playable. With some more tuning, it can get a lot better. And if you want to drop the vampires from it, you can make a top tier deck out of it. And especially in the case of Jund, you can have a Jund token or a Jund counters deck. There's a lot of black green aggro decks out right now that are doing really well at the Pro Tour and SEG Opens and that kind of stuff. You know, that's all over the place. So that we had that kind of thing going for us in the Jund. So we had, our Winding Constrictors. We had ways to give counters on stuff with our Mimics and our Drana and our Indulgent Aristocrats. So we had two different strategies, right? Our Black-Red Vampires is straightforward kind of creature aggro with some removal and a little bit of disruption. In the case of Transgress, live our Lost Legacy, Release the Gremlins, and Distended Mindbender in the sideboard. So this is a much more straightforward creature aggro type deck. Our Jund deck was a little bit more controlling. We had a ton of removal, so we have Shocks, Fatal Pushes, Disintegrations, Grasp of Darkness, etc. And we basically wanted to build up a creature or build up our tribal creatures or vampires to be bigger. So in that vein, we had our Constrictors, our Mimics, we had our Vampire cards, we had our Poisoner to create a token so we can sacrifice it to our Aristocrat if we had to, and our Aristocrat to pump everything else up. And then, in that last match, we played against much more aggro deck, a burn deck, basically. Sadly, they didn't get their plan going, so we didn't really get to see the shining moments of our deck, but that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you flood out, sometimes you don't draw what you need, and you lose. It's all part of the game. But in that matchup, we had to take the controlling matchup, which controlling role, which worked out pretty well. The Gifted Aetherborn, I think, is a really underrated card. I think this can fit into a lot of general aggro decks, or kind of mid-rangey decks. Although mid-range right now isn't a super huge portion of the metagame, I think this is a pretty strong card. It's a great blocker late game. It's good early. It's cheap. It's got lifelink and death touch. What more can you ask for a 2 black mana creature? Sadly, it's only 2/3, so it does die to Harness Lightning, etc. I think Drana can be a really powerful card in aggressive matchups too, and the same thing with Yahenni. I wish there was an easier way to get counters on Yahenni by herself, or themself, I should say. You have to kill a creature to get a counter. It'd be great if it was sacrifice a creature, although that would kind of probably be overpowered. Or whenever a creature dies, period, that would be pretty good. Maybe not overpowered, I don't know. I like that it has haste, though. Yeah. So I think I was really loathing trying to build that Black Red Vampires deck into something good. Like I mentioned in the intro, I was thinking about building a control deck with Kalidas as the vampire, and maybe that one vampire that's you sacrifice 3 creatures to flip it. I can't remember, Corruptor of Bloodlines or something like that. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Maybe I can just find it in here. No, I guess no. Maybe it's Bloodline. Call the Bloodline? No. Maybe it's just Vampire. Anyways, but there's a vampire creature you can play, and you sacrifice 3 creatures, and it'll flip, and then when it flips, the opponent has to sacrifice 3 creatures, which can be pretty powerful. It's a powerful effect. It is pretty expensive. Apparently I don't have... I thought I had some copies because I thought I was going to build that deck, but I guess maybe I don't have any. But anyways, I thought about building some sort of Grixis control, but then it was really just removal, card draw, and a couple of vampires that may or may not really play a role that we wanted to, right? So I wanted to keep it aggressive, keep it, on theme, basically. Some vampires that do stuff. You know, we had our Henry Garrison. I always wanted to transform this and make the Writhing Township. Got to do it once, didn't work out, but what can you do? And I think the tokens are good because you know, it's just more aggressive stuff, and we can discard stuff with Olivia to make them bigger. But yeah. Anyway, so I think this is about as far as I'm going to take the vampire decks. Two good ideas. They can definitely be built upon and made better. And if you want to lose the vampires, you can build pretty much any aggressive deck. You know, with the Jund, you can put in is it Rishkar? Yeah, Rishkar with the Winding Constrictors, just like every other black-green deck has with Virjo's Gear Hulk. And you basically have Jund aggro. You know, you can put in Scrap Heap Scroungers in either of these, make a recurring, you know, with the recurring threat, etc. So these can definitely, you know, are a budget. I would say the Jund is a little bit less budget because I think the Constrictors are pretty expensive. Now, when I bought these before the Pro Tour, they were dirt cheap, but they could be more now. But everything in these decks is pretty cheap for the most part. The Mimics can be a little expensive too, just because they probably have some really casual appeal and stuff like that. But anyways, thanks for watching, and check us out next time. Thanks. Bye.